Hello, welcome back yet to another episode of Beyond the Move to Canada. My name is Richard Kakama.
And my name is Jennifer Kakama.
Wow, we are so excited to share with you our story again today. Today is the 12th of July 2026.
Yeah, and today is very hot.
Yeah, it's very hot. You can imagine right now it's actually 9 p.m. Can you imagine 9 p.m. and it's looking like this?
Yeah, we decided to take our video at this time.
Yeah, we're somewhere in the park and we are just enjoying a cool breeze near the lake. And we just wanted to share about how we came to Canada. And that's like we had shared in the previous video. We are like, after sharing the why, today we'll share with you how we moved to Canada. So let's just get started.
Yes, thank you once again. And I just wanted to let us know that I have written a few things here so that we can refer to the book and we don't forget them. So, like I promised the other time, that how we came to Canada is very interesting. So keep your ears and your eyes sharpened because this is very interesting. It's really an interesting movie. So the number one thing was when we got prepared to coming and the visas were ready.
Yeah, I remember I first applied for the visa, for the study visa, because remember we had talked that the option we chose was to come here as an international student. So I applied for a study visa after getting enrollment in the University of Winnipeg, that is in Manitoba. So I got a study visa in the year 2022, December, and the intake was beginning in April.
April of 2022.
Yeah, April.
So
22.
you had to defer. And what is the reason why you deferred?
Oh yeah, the thing is, sometimes when you apply for these visas, the assumption is that maybe it's going to take so long, or maybe it's not going to be as fast as it came out. Because I remember I needed to serve notice at my workplace, but also at the same time I needed to have time to prepare to come. However, I was shocked when I applied. It took about, I think must have been 2.5 weeks, and the visa was granted. So it was more like, okay, now what do you do? I have a family, I have a few things I needed to do, like personal things. Remember that time we were constructing the house in the village. They hadn't finished up a few things which I thought I would do. Then there was a land we had bought together, remember? Yeah. And we hadn't transferred it. It was still in the owner's names. So we're like, you know what? Let's, if we could maybe defer and sort out a few things and then proceed.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
Yeah, so after deferring, like what he has said, we had thought together as a couple that we would go. He would go first and then I would follow. Because of course we were not sure of where we were going and we had little children. So I agreed. But from the hearts of my heart, I did not accept it. But I kept praying and believing that if there is a way how God can do things and we go together, it would be good to all go together and experience this together. So we also applied for our visas with the children, just in case, to leave the lines open, right? And so we did apply for the visas and they were also granted, right?
Yeah.
And when they were granted, we were supposed to leave Uganda by July. And he was going in April, right? But they dictated that we needed to get out of the country by July. So we didn't have any other option but to just pack our belongings and go. I was very happy because, I did not expect it. So yes, we started preparing now, my spirits were really high, started preparing. We didn't tell the children so much about it because we didn't want it to spread. Yeah.
Yeah, as much as she was happy and they were happy, it may not have been all the way, because if they had not left the country by July 2023, the visas were going to expire. So the fact that I had deferred, already we had the visas, but it takes 1 year. So if they had stayed, they would have expired. So when we noticed that, we're like, you know what, let's visit a few friends, say bye-bye to family, and try to patch up a few things. I remember we decided to visit my sister for Easter that year.
Yeah, in
Harare. So we traveled to Zimbabwe, checked on them, then traveled to the village, checked on our grandparents, our uncles, tried to make sure that at least we leave things at a smooth place. And of course got blessings from our people who had been there for us, and it helped us to actually plan. That period of deferring helped us to plan properly, so that we leave when we have at least
we're prepared.
And also good information about who would pick us from the airport.
So we had to make sure that we organize all those things. Deferring really gave us a lot of time to get organized, get prepared, let family know, put a few things together like funds, proof of funds. Yes, whoever's trying to apply for a visa in Canada understands what proof of funds is. So Canada expects you to have a particular amount of money in your account that can help you to manage yourself in Canada. So that allowed us time to organize ourselves and get all those funds together. So once we got all the funds, very interestingly, like I said in the other previous episodes, we said that one of the reasons why we wanted to move to this place is because of our career advancement and the lag between growth in our careers and jobs and work and all those things. Interestingly, we started getting many opportunities.
You tell me, but I remember. Okay, you can start. Maybe you can share about.
We started getting, interestingly, we started getting opportunities. I remember from a long time that I wasn't finding work that is meaningful. Yeah, that's what I can say. I was given a managerial position, right, with some project, with Danish project, and it was too good to be true. You know, I went, I did the interviews, I got it. I was supposed to work, but I was very, I wondered what I could do. I came back, I told him, I got another opportunity, I think with TASO, the AIDS support organization, and wow, as well as him, he kept going for bigger things.
I remember I got at least, I did 3 interviews. By then, of course, I had the visas, but I was like, maybe if something, I remember there's a friend who asked me that if you were to get a very good job, would you actually stay? I was like, all I want is the money. So we laughed about it, but I remember going for an interview in one of the financial organizations, and they, how you do an interview, you pass it, they tell you, you're going to have a meeting with the ED and just discuss about salary. The guy called me in his office, we spoke, I told him what I felt I needed, he told me what they could offer. And when you're negotiating, you're like, okay, just give me what you can. Give me what you feel is fine. If that is your limit, I'm okay with it.
They did all the background checks.
Yes, they did.
You were sure that you had got it.
And still they didn't give me. Then there was another organization where they called me, and one of the top managers said, you know what, we cannot give you Richard because we already have someone from the same organization you're currently working at, so we feel there'll be
a conflict.
Can you imagine? After passing the interview, because like you were actually the best person, but we cannot give you. And okay, to me I was like, okay, really?
Yeah.
And it was then the third one. It was now in the government entity, and it was taking me to Kanungu, I remember.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, just listen, the funny thing, they sent me, the interview was going to be on Monday. and they sent me the message for the interview on Sunday. Can you imagine? Traveling from Kampala to Kanungu for an interview on a Monday, and you receive the message on a Sunday. I'm like, really? Why would someone send me a message on Sunday when the interview is the next day? It's not like I'm staying in Kanungu. And it was a good job, but then I'm like, there's no way I can make it in time unless I use the Aerolink, all those planes that used to go to Kanungu using Garuga's airstrip. But those are some of the things that were happening during the time we're about to leave, which made us feel like, okay, are we making the right decision? Should we stay or not? Because we were seeing what they call light at the end of the tunnel. Like you've been applying for these jobs and now people are calling you. You're now reaching up to the top level. They're telling you actually the best. And somehow like, okay, maybe you can be third time lucky, like how they always say.
I know.
Yeah, but by then we had already made up our mind to actually leave.
We had really made up the mind.
Yeah. So now, time for, you can maybe share about the parking, the bags.
So I think most of the parking was, my side. So most of the time, because he was focusing on finishing his term at his job, so I started thinking about parking. Definitely, I had to look for information about parking to this part of the world. YouTube was very interesting at that time, very helpful. So I went to YouTube because a lot of people from West Africa were also moving that time.
Yeah.
So I borrowed a lot of information from there. And then, I came to understand which kind of parking, bags do you use? Which clothes do you use? Do you park? Because we are moving with little small children. How basically things around there.
What to park, what not to park.
Yes. So I went downtown. We did a lot of shopping, but we had trouble with the bags. Which really ended up bazaar.
We felt that at the airport because. So next time, if you ever plan to travel, one thing that we learned is, of course, we're a big family then, and you want to pack almost everything, and instead of getting bags that had rollers, at least half of them didn't have. We had like 4 bags that had rollers, the other didn't have. So I was like, what, I can't push them.
You know what? I think the thing is that we did not have actually those bags. Most of the bags were carry-ons, and that's a lot. Even though they were going to be moving in the cargo plane, at some point the cargo plane had to put them down, and we had to carry them. Because when we reached Calgary, that's the port of entry. We entered from Alberta. It's that country where we entered from. And in Calgary, the plane has to switch to another plane that is getting us to the venue. To the place where we're going. We're going to Winnipeg in Manitoba. And, to take you back, we came from Uganda, Entebbe Airport, and then we landed into Amsterdam, right? Our suitcases, by the time we hadn't felt it.
Yeah.
Well, they were not suitcases, they were bags, cargo bags, right? The ones that have 2 hooks, they have two handles, right? But they don't have anything like rollers, nothing. And we had so many, we had over like 8 of them, right? Because we were packing our entire lives, okay, into those 8 suitcases, right? And so when we did that, we reached Amsterdam, everything is good, we just have the carry-ons, but remember we have a small child. Charlene that time was 1 year old. She was 1 and,
she was like 1
and 5 months. Yeah. So it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. It was tiring. I got tired. Canada is very far. It's very far.
How many
hours? Around 18?
29?
Actually 20.
The whole flight took about
29 hours. Yeah, because we even got a delay at Calgary. Anyway, before we go to that delay, so when we reached Amsterdam, it was nice, right? We had to change the diapers for the child. I met my sister-in-law's, my sister, her mother-in-law. I met her on the plane. It was nice. We had a chat, and then she also went ahead because I think she was going to the UK. Yeah, it was nice. We took refreshments. We're looking at a beautiful Amsterdam, and then we had to get the next.
The next plane.
Yeah.
Bring
And
us
which
to Canada.
plane was it?
That was Brussels.
No, thank you.
Which one was it?
KLM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we used KLM.
Okay, so now we get to Calgary in Alberta, and when you reach at the port of entry, you put in your details, and if you're coming as an international student, you have to get your study visa from there. The study permit, sorry. Study permit, those who are under you, they're also given permits. Like she had to get an open work permit, then my kids had to be given a visitor's permit. So they take us to a room where we're supposed to be given those papers. So remember, we are supposed to connect to Winnipeg after, and
We
it
were
was
in a
supposed
relaxed
to be, yeah,
mood.
it was supposed to be done within, the next flight was supposed to be in 45 minutes. But for some reason, we just sat and waited. By the time they gave us those papers was like an hour later, like giving us our permits and everything that we needed, the documentation. So we picked them up, and I remember being directed to where we were supposed to board from. So I reach, I present my passport and the kids' passports and my wife's passport. And they tell us, the flight has already left. These guys didn't know because they were already seated, they were tired, of course.
I was already curious, I
but-
was already asking.
So I come back, I talk to another guard. I'm like, are you sure this plane left? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, how do I tell this to my wife and the kids that the plane has gone? So she's there looking at me. I think she was wondering, why are we still seated here? I'm like, you know what, the plane left, but I'm working on towards getting us another one.
It wasn't funny.
Yeah, it wasn't. So I was directed to a desk for, I think it was it WestJet? Yeah, it was WestJet.
And that is the small plane that goes to Winnipeg, where we're going to Manitoba. They're internal planes, right?
Yeah.
So we were put on the next plane anyway. To cut the long story short, we were put on the next plane, and they had to wait for us. Everybody's sitting. Oh my goodness. We were very anxious, but do you know when you're anxious but you don't know what is happening? Not even anxious, we're just relaxed.
But before we get to the next plane, how
Like-
did we get that next plane? Talk about
I don't
moving from
remember that.
from our seats where you guys were up to where, because the next plane was leaving soon. I remember they had to, okay, since you guys have kids, maybe you can actually be booked on it. However, it was a distance of about like 20 minutes
Oh my
walk.
goodness.
And we had
More than
bags.
20 minutes.
Yeah. Because the airport was so big, and we had these
Very
bags.
dramatic.
I don't know. Bags, jackets.
Bags, jackets,
Then
and
the
jackets
kids.
we had were from Uganda. These are not jackets. By the way, the time we came was April, right?
Yeah, yeah. just
April
towards the end
is
of winter.
after
Okay.
winter.
Yeah. Like still
Well,
cold.
it's still cold. It's still winter, but we are
It was
entering. Is it
Spring, right?
Yeah,
It's
we're
spring.
entering spring. So it's still cold, okay? And so we bought our jackets from downtown. You know the jackets they sell downtown, not knowing that they're not even close to the weather here. Anyway, we didn't notice that, but the good thing, because of being tired, I just threw everything at the airport. I was tired, I had a baby to carry, I had jackets that I was carrying, I was having another carry-on bag. I put everything down. The children were tired.
Asking.
The airport is so big. So what we decided, we entered the plane, boom, we were in Calgary, in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
And so we land.
So who picked us?
Sarah. And how did we get to know her? We want to thank you, Sarah, for taking, that time, being very kind. We did not know you. We didn't know anyone, by the way. Coming here, we didn't know anyone apart from my husband's auntie, who had come in the early 90s, and they were living in another province. They were living in Ontario, in the city of Toronto. And so we called her 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks prior to coming. We told her we are coming to Canada. She was very curious about how we were going to stay in this country, whether we knew anyone. And we told her we were very truthful. We told her we don't know anyone. I want to tell you that a few people that knew that we were coming, especially family, were a bit worried, about how we were going to cope coming to a new country with small
Kids.
children. And not knowing anyone. My mother was very worried. The sister's husband was worried. And the auntie was worried. But anyway, she said, I have to connect you immediately to someone who can actually pick you and give you a safe landing, which is seamless. So Sarah was given our number, and then she reached out to us. We exchanged our pictures. She came to the airport. We were able to identify her, picked us, drove us in her car. She's a nurse here in Canada. Took us to our apartment. How did you get our apartment?
Now, remember, at first, I was coming alone.
Yeah.
So the university had given me an apartment, one of the hostels, but it was a single room. So when I informed them later that I'm now coming with my family, they recommended Muse Flats. It was also owned by the university, but it was a family, it had more family setting on the side. The rooms were bigger. So that's how I was able to get a room at Muse Flats. So going back to Sarah just a little bit is when our flight got when we missed our flight, I had to call her and inform her that, you know what, we have been delayed. Can you please wait for us? Because she was expecting us by 10:55 p.m. But now we won't be reaching this side about almost at midnight, I remember. So I also want to thank her for that, for being patient and for waiting for us, driving back and forth from her place to the airport.
And she had to work as well.
And also through the university, I think the landlady bought for us the mattresses. Was it Sarah who bought them? Yeah.
So what we did, we asked the university complex that was managing where we were going to sleep, the Muse Flats, my husband has mentioned. We asked them if they could help to. Now that is when we had known that we are now all coming, right?
Yeah.
So we asked them that if they could help us purchase the mattresses for us. They did, okay? They did purchase the mattresses from IKEA, but they said they are not responsible for the
damage that would be done in the by putting them up.
So they just bought them and put them in their room. So when we came at night, very interesting, we entered our room. My goodness, it was midnight. There was nothing. So we entered the empty room apart from mattresses with our suitcases. That night we were very tired. My body was broken. So I had few things as a mother. I have milk that instant that I can.
Saucepan as well.
Yeah, I had one small saucepan, a small pan just for preparing milk. I actually had two. I had two just if we reach the night, because we don't know where we should identify the things from. We don't know the shops yet. I knew that maybe these two pans would help. One for sauce, and the other would be for food, maybe a pot of rice. So I prepared milk that night, and then she took us to Tim Hortons. We bought food, and then lo and behold, we're laying down. When we have left our beds at home, we laid down. The children started questioning, but we prepared them. The next day, we told them, you're in a new country, we have to adjust. Mommy and Daddy will make things better for you. You have come here. Try to talk to the children and encourage them so that they can lower their expectations. And then the next day, she came back, took us to the Winnipeg School Division to be able to find the schools for the children. Oh my goodness, it was a very, very tiring journey.
And then our phones were off
our phones were off. The next day, I think that's the next day, we had to get the SIM cards. Yeah. Our phones don't work. Yeah, because they were a particular type of phone, but they were not. That phone was not working here, so we had to buy a new phone. So anyone who is in Uganda and they don't have an iPhone, or you don't have a Samsung Galaxy or whatever phone, you have any other type of phone, the Technos, all those sorts of phones, I'm sorry, but they are not going to work here. So you have to incur costs by buying a phone that aligns with the Canadian SIM card. So we had to get the SIM cards, things, at least we got on air. So that was our journey. Yeah, we communicated home, but we're still very tired, and our bodies are still confused about the jet lag, the time differences. The children slept the whole week. I remember they were just spending the whole day sleeping. Wow! But we want to thank God for having enabled us to reach here. It was not an easy journey. It's not very easy to decide to come here, and there are so many things we have not talked about of how we came here. Yes, we can talk about it right now, but there's a lot in the background. There's a lot. It takes a lot. Please, can you add something?
Yeah, just not to make this longer than it should be.
Yeah.
I just hope that you've learned something about especially planning, packing, booking the flights, getting to know what time is the connecting flight, what do you need to do within that period, how long do they take to give you, for example, your permit at the port of entry, because if we had known how long that would take, we wouldn't have missed our next flight. And also making friends, because like a person like Sarah being able to pick us from the airport, assist us in buying the phones and the SIM cards,
helping us to settle, right?
Yeah, so she was really helpful from the start. I remember, because we were new, we didn't know anyone in Winnipeg.
No one.
And oh my God, that night sleeping down, the mattresses actually were really hard, because you know these new mattresses, they were even still in their bags, they were still tied.
A particular kind of mattress from IKEA.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that mattress is very hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard. I was struggling to breathe, you know, because I'm coming from a place where I've been opening windows. Here, you can't open windows.
Yeah, because of the cold.
My goodness.
Yeah. So
And every time I sat in the washroom, I would look up. Now that is like I was still living in denial for the first 1 month. Every time I would look up in the washroom when I sit, I would ask myself, am I really here? How is life going to be? You know, I have that anxiety within me, questions, you know, wondering how we are going to make it here. Looking at the things that I've been doing at home. I've been in the plantation, I've been seeing gardens, children have been running in the compound, we've been having helps, families around, people on the road. That's already another stress killer, seeing people on the road doing different things that are very interesting if you come from Uganda. No more. I'm just seeing lights everywhere. I'm just seeing tarmac roads everywhere, and it was very interesting. Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about next?
So in our next episode, we are going to talk about...
We're going to talk about balancing life between school, work, and children, because that was like our first, I would say, the first thing that we had to make sure we adjust to, because the kids had to go to school, we didn't have any help at home. Then I had to go to school, then you had to look for work.
Yeah.
Then you had a baby who didn't have school at that time.
Who didn't have school?
Yeah, kindergarten or even daycare at that time.
Yeah, and we need to pay rent.
Yes. So
we need to pay rent, which is not cheap.
So we are going to share about how do you juggle that and the stress that comes with it. How did you overcome it?
How did you find work?
Yeah. Not even work, but school.
Yeah.
I think you will talk about work, because
we will talk about school.
We'll talk about school, and then we'll talk about how to be a mother or a father with these
and
returns.
adjusting. We'll talk about adjusting. It was a swift transition from, you know, our normal life to the new normal, right? So there is that we need to explain to you how we transitioned immediately, because we had to. I came on Monday. On Wednesday, I got a job. So that is going to be the next thing. My husband had to go that very day, on Wednesday, the day that I had to work, to get his orientation and start school. He will also explain to you how he thought that he was going to work. And when we reached here, things changed. He came to realize that he cannot work. Yet the rent had to be paid. So wait for the next episode. We want to thank you all for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. For anyone who has a comment, please don't forget to comment. Be nice to us, because we are sharing content that is helpful, and whoever plans to come to Canada, this is for you. Thank you very much for watching. We cannot wait to see you again. Bye.